this is the Christmas Friend Friday Hop. Let's go right into the craft room and get started. Alright, so for this one, I got this scrapbook paper at Hobby Lobby, and it is just like corrugated cardboard. So you could literally use a cardboard box from your house and pull it apart and just use the corrugated part. And we are going to be building this adorable little snowman. So first of all, I'm going to cut it into strips, and at the beginning I cut it into 3-inch strips, but then I realized that I can do a lot thinner of a strip and it's going to go a lot farther. These pieces of scrapbook paper were $1.99 each, so if you go buy it to make it easier on yourself, it's going to be a little more costly than if you use just a cardboard box from your house. So I did go back and cut the 3-inch strips in half, so I end up with 1.5-inch strips. You could cut whatever width strips that you want. It's just kind of a personal preference thing, and if you've got a box to use or if you're going to buy the actual paper, which will be, like I said, a little bit more costly, but you could do this for almost next to nothing price-wise if you use a box from your house. Alright, now that we've got our strips cut, we are going to start assembling our snowman. So first I'm going to kind of start my little roll over there, and then I'm going to put some hot glue down in there. You wouldn't necessarily have to use hot glue, but I have arthritis in my hands, so it's hard for me to hold it without the glue. So the glue kind of helped me hold it in place. And it's going to just secure it a little better for long-term use. If you're going to save this for year after year, it's going to hold it together a little better for you. And you're just going to continue to roll. I will speed this up in a minute. I just wanted to make sure you could see what I was doing. At first, I was putting a little strip of hot glue like you saw me do there, but the farther I go on, I realize that I can put a strip longwise, like go down the length of the roll, and it makes it a lot faster. You know, learn from my mistakes. You can go faster from the beginning. And we are still continuing to roll, and I will speed it up in a minute. I just wanted you to be able to see that I'm kind of moving each strip back just a little bit because I want the front of the snowman to have a rounded appearance like he would in real life. So as you can see, it's starting to kind of form a little dome on the front side, so he will be more rounded. Now I'm going to add in my next strip, and what I do here is I put a little bit of hot glue right there on the edge, and then I meet up that edge with the edge where I ended, and that makes it have a seamless appearance. So I wanted to show you guys that kind of in real time so you can see where they meet up. You can't really tell that we've started a new sheet of paper. Alright, and we're continuing to roll, and now we're in fast forward. And then I kind of get to a stopping point, and I want to make sure I've got enough paper, so I'm going to start on the body of the snowman now. And we're going to do the same thing that we did before, and then just continue to roll. And I continue to kind of make that dome effect on the front side so that he will have a little happy belly. Here I saved one sheet out. I think I had 4 or 5 sheets. And I took the little body there and made myself a circle. This is going to be the brim for his hat. And I make a second one, and then I'm going to glue them together with the smooth sides touching. So the corrugated part is on the outside of both pieces. And then I'm starting to build the top part of the hat. And there I was like, wait, it's not big enough. So I kept kind of comparing it to the top of his head to see if the sizing looked about right. And this I just did until my eyes were happy. So now I'm going to connect the body to the head. And I did that with a little bead of hot glue. And then I'm going to go back in and I'm going to use just a straight pin. And I push it through. Because I domed the front side, you've got a little bit of wiggle room there in the back, and you can push a pin through there. And I thought that just helps hold it in place. So I took this dowel rod and I sanded off the end to make it into a cone shape. And then I snipped it off with my nippers. And then I painted it orange, and that gave me a little carrot for his nose. So I just hot glue that into place. And then I got some of these buttons from Dollar Tree, and I dug out some small ones for the eyes and some that were just a little bit bigger for the buttons on his belly. We are just going to glue all of those into place. So what I did is I put a little bit of glue on the back side of the button to kind of fill in the holes. And then I put a little bead of glue on the belly and then stuck them together. And that seemed to work really well because the back side of the buttons were kind of domed. And so I kind of filled it in with glue before I glued it on, and that helped it to adhere. And we're going to make sure these are all stuck down. And look how cute he is even if you don't paint him. Now I'm going to take my Waverly chalk paint in white, and I wait to put the hat on. That way I can lay him down flat without chancing knocking the hat off. And so I'm taking the white paint and I'm going to just put it all over the corrugated cardboard, on the hat, on the snowman. And I'm putting some spots way heavier, some spots really light, some spots I'm actually like mounding up some glue like pretty thick. And this is just, like I said, till your eyes get happy. And then we are going to go back in with that fake snow from the Dollar Tree that you see laying there. And I do go over the buttons with the paint, and then I kind of dab it back off with my finger, just so those are going to have snow on them too if he is outside in the snow. And then I'm going to go in with some hot glue, and I'm going to put that fake snow on. And this, I just kind of put it in spots, so it looks like it's been snowing, and some of the spots have gotten a little more snow on them than others. And again, I just continue to do this in spots that I thought snow would collect, and until he was kind of sparkly enough for me. Now I'm going to take this wood that I got at Hobby Lobby. It was $4.50 and I got it half price. And I pulled out the biggest slabs that I could find. And I'm going to make kind of a little scene with these so that I can also put a tree and some other stuff. So I used wood glue and hot glue. And then I flipped it over and I put quite a bit more hot glue just so it was really stuck together until the wood glue dried. And then I went in and just kind of dry brushed it with some of the white paint to look like it had some snow on it. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the hot glue and put some dabs of hot glue and then some snow just to kind of look like it's gathered around the bottom. I also did that on this tree that I got at Dollar Tree. Now I'm taking my little piggy and vacuuming up the mess that the snow leaves behind. Now I'm going to put some buffalo check ribbon around the brim of his hat. And then I also had this other little metal holly leaf that I'm going to use. It was just something, I think we cleaned out the garage and I found it and I was like, hey, I can save this and use it somewhere, and here's that somewhere. I clipped some tiny little clothespins on the back side of him and it helped him to stand up, and then I kind of glued around them so that it kind of locked it in place. And that way he's not going to fall over. Now I'm going to glue his hat on. And then we're going to glue our tree down. And now I'm going to give him a scarf. And I do kind of glue the ends down just a bit so that they stay where I want them. Then I have this little bucket that I got at Hobby Lobby. It was $1.99 and it was 50% off. So I got it for $1. And I do glue it down. I just put a whole bunch of glue because it's got kind of a gap underneath it. And then I'm going to fill that with snowballs. I found these sparkly snowballs at Hobby Lobby and they were so cute, and I had to add them in one of my Christmas DIYs. So I thought this was the perfect DIY because if you're out playing in the snow, you're going to build a snowman and you're going to have snowballs, right? I'm just continuing to glue that down to make sure it's stuck. And the snowballs I don't glue in. You could glue them in if you wanted. How cute are those? They were $3.99, 50% off, so they were only $2. And you fill up your bucket. And guys, he is so adorable. Let me know what you think of him down in the comments below. And if you like any of these DIYs, make sure you give me a thumbs up before you leave. So today's video is part of the Christmas Friend Friday Hop with Heidi Sonboul DIY and a bunch of other awesome DIYers. So make sure after you leave my channel that you go check out the rest of the hop. So you will just find the description to the next link down in the description box below. And we are going to be giving away a $375 Amazon gift card. To enter to win, you have to comment and like every video in the hop. Door hanger from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to get that paper off of the front. You're going to add this little key to it. So I took some old just wash rags that I think I got those at Dollar Tree or Walmart, just cheap ones, and I wet them, and I took an alcohol and water mixture and just keep it really wet. And if you do that for just a few minutes and then just continue to wet it, the top layer of the paper will come off. Once you get that top layer off to where we are now, if you will wet that back down, it will come right off. I used a razor blade to go ahead and help me scrape it, and it comes right off and you have just a bare piece of wood. You can paint it and it looks amazing. You can't ever tell that there was ever paper on there. Then I went in with my Waverly chalk paint in white and I gave it 2 coats of white paint. And then I'm going to cut out a decal with my Cricut. You could hand letter this, you could use rub-on stencils from Dollar Tree or stickers, whatever you wanted to do. But this was a decal that I had found on Etsy and I thought it was so cute. If you don't have a chimney at your house, that you could put this little magic key out for Santa on Christmas Eve and Santa can get into your house even though you don't have a chimney. So I'm going to burnish that down. Make sure it's good and stuck. And then I'm going to peel off the transfer tape. And as long as you stuck it down really well, the transfer tape should come off relatively easy. And then I'm going to take a tiny little finishing nail that I had. I looked for a little hook and I couldn't find one. I know I've got one somewhere, but does anyone else have that problem? So I'm going to hammer in my nail. It was a little too long, so I was going to have to go through to the back side. So I hammered it all the way through, and then I took my little nippers and nipped it off on the back side, and then covered that little pointy part with a little bit of hot glue so that it won't scratch the door. And then I took and made a little finger bow to put on my key. And you guys, how cute and easy was this? And this literally took maybe 20 minutes with dry time. And your kids will be so excited to hang this on the door on Christmas Eve. Okay, I have a monthly Chic for Cheap craft challenge, and someone posted a video and I wanted to recreate something that she made. It was so stinking adorable. Her name is Angie and her channel is The Redheaded Scrapper, so make sure you go check out her video. So I cut out 2 triangles with some cardboard, and then I'm taking the back side of a large gift sack that I'd got at Dollar General, and I used that at the front of it in my last video. And I'm cutting out 1 piece of fabric that fits the triangles exactly, and I'm cutting out 1 piece that is larger than the triangles so that I can fold it around to the front side or the back side, whichever. Now I'm going to take Mod Podge and I'm going to cover completely the back side of the triangle, and then I'm going to cover the other side and fold those extra pieces around and stick them down and cut off the extra pieces. Then I'm going to cover it completely with Mod Podge on this back side and put down the piece that fits exactly. Then after I get that stuck down, I am going to put another coat of Mod Podge on the front and the back to cover it completely. Now I'm taking 3 skewer sticks for each side and I'm gluing those together so they kind of make a triangle shape. And then I'm cutting down the bottom piece so that it's the right size. You want it to be a little larger than your triangle. And now you're going to cover that with jute. You're going to wrap the jute completely around. And you're going to spin that in your hands and just run the jute around all 3 of those skewer stick pieces. Make sure as you're wrapping these that you do leave a little bit of the jute hanging off each end, because you are going to use those to tie each of the skewer sticks together to make a complete triangle. And that's what it'll look like when you get it all done. And I'm just kind of making sure everything's still looking okay. I want about an inch gap all the way around. And here's where I'm going back in once my other Mod Podge has dried, and I'm putting another coat on the front and the back and the sides. And make sure you guys don't forget to comment and like every single video in the hop, because I would love one of my subscribers to win that huge Amazon gift card right here before Christmas. Alright, I'm taking this little square piece of wood that I got at Walmart, and I'm taking my Waverly antiquing wax, just giving it a coat and then wiping it back down with a rag. I also did that to my extra skewers, and here's where I'm tying those edges together, and once I get them tied together, I go over each corner with some extra jute. Now I'm taking a piece of craft paper. This is just the craft paper like you get on a roll at the Dollar Tree, and I'm cutting it down into small little squares because we are going to stamp Mary on each of these and make a little tiny banner to hang on our tree. So here I am stamping. You could also hand letter this. You would not have to stamp, or you could use little stickers or rub-on decals from the Dollar Tree. And then I'm making little dovetails at the bottom of each of those banners. And then I do go back and cut them down because they were a little too wide and I wanted them to be a little more narrow on my tree. And now I'm taking them around a skewer stick and rolling it so that it rolls the top edge, so when we go to put it over the jute, we can just glue it down and it's already rolled over for us. Now I'm taking my extra skewer sticks and I'm sticking them up in the bottom of that first tree. They go right in with that pointy edge, and now I'm deciding how long I want my tree skewers to be, so how tall I want it to be, and I'm measuring it out, and then I'm going to drill a tiny little hole. It doesn't have to be very big. You could even like put a nail in there and hammer it in and then kind of pull it back out. You could probably even just hot glue it there on the top. I just wanted to make sure mine was extra sturdy. Then I'm going to glue where those two trees meet, and I'm going to tie jute around that connection point. I'm going to put hot glue down in the holes, and now I'm going to tie on my little banner. And you guys, how adorable and simple was this DIY? Make sure you go over to the Red-Headed Scrapper and watch her version because she did a much better job than I did, but it is so cute. Merry Christmas, you guys.